Welcome back to the Talk Past podcast, as we tend to make weird vocalizations of. But I am, of course, NC, the every now and then host, and I am here with co-host.
Wrap me up and string me out. I am Red Iron Riot, aka the War Queen.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of getting wrapped up and strung out, now is the time, the month, that the show that we do is running. Of course, you and I aren't in it this year, but
Nope.
But I thought it'd be interesting if we talked about what we actually do over the course of a day, perhaps a weekend. Sometimes there's a lot that we do, and you want to wrap it up in a nice little package here for our listeners. But,
for sure. But before we start, if any of our friends at the fair are listening to us, and I hope you are, I love you guys. I wish you all the best this season of fair, and I miss you guys.
Indeed,
I really do.
It's for me, they are the actual family. You know, you've got your biologicals, of whom that's what I call them, and then you've got your chosen family, which are actual people, human beings. But yeah, no, absolutely.
Sometimes you're lucky enough that your biological are also your chosen, like my dear sweet sister, who is currently in the other room doing God knows what, but I love her to bits.
One can hope.
Yeah.
But I do miss doing the reenactment. I feel like I need to be there, but I'm also not missing the possible dying aspect of it at the moment.
There was frost on the ground this morning.
So yeah, no, I know we're off shooting, but just a couple days ago in the morning, I had to deal with frost in my windows.
Ooh.
And I'm like, I can vaguely see. Should I do it? And I'm like, no, I should just get a scraper.
Yeah, no.
Get a scraper.
For those not aware, if anyone, I recently just moved way across, like from south to north of the country. So
you moved to where
it's got to be my first north winter.
Mm-hmm. From where snow is a foreign concept, like a myth, to where snow is 10 months out of 12. Pretty much.
We'll see. I've already been here I'm in halfway through the second month, so if the next 10 months have snow, then I'll be like, so
you are going up just before the winter. When I first came up, of course, late February, winter was kind of ending. You know, there was like 1 week of or maybe 1 weekend of snow on the ground, and then it was chill.
Yeah.
So we'll see how a real winter is.
All right. Well, yeah. So, the day at fair, and I guess it's the best place to start is like what probably should bring or what we bring besides, our kit.
Well, yeah. Obviously, the day doesn't actually start at the bang of a cannon for our show or a horn or whatever. It doesn't start when the show starts.
Nope.
For us, really depends on what type of cast you're doing. But for us, where we also do fight and general, our call is like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
I could have sworn it was like 6 or I think it was 7.
7. But I mean, we're up at like 5 or 4.
Oof.
Prepping, getting your stuff. Obviously, water is big. You want your snacking food. I think snacking is better than the big meals for us.
Well,
that's what I do at least.
I found that it worked really good for me. I had a good, hearty breakfast. I think I might have mentioned grits. I do some grits, do some eggs, just a hot breakfast to get you started, to get started. And I find that really helps just keep me going through the day. It also helps me not have to use the facilities during the day, which is not something I like to do.
Maybe a little out of the ordinary, but it's relevant to the channel. But do you do like a medieval diet during show? Like, what I mean by that is we'll say peasants, right?
Right.
We're working, but they'll eat something big for the morning. Generally something, I guess, filling. Maybe not too big, but something that'll get him going in the morning. But the big meal is actually in the afternoon, your lunch, if you will. And then in the evening, it's just kind of like cheese and bread. But something akin like that, because that's what I do.
Mm. I guess this might turn into a topic is like, appropriate foods.
Mhm.
But
Oh yeah,
but no,
definitely. We'll get.
I find that having a decent meal at the start of the day really can head off a lot of problems.
Yeah,
The one thing I hate that I'm not a fan of oats. Like, I
yeah,
just don't like oatmeal.
yeah. So like they're really
It's
great for you, but and granted, every now and then I do come back around to them because I don't mind it. It's just that it's not something I want to eat regularly,
Yeah. And it's like, "Oh,
especially plain.
you can put this and this and that," and it's like, that's kinda, missing the point. If I wanted to eat that much sugar, I'd just go get cereal.
Yes, or the sugar, right?
The
Or if I wanted to
sugars.
eat berries, I'll just eat the berries.
Yeah,
Right now I've got a couple boxes of a pumpkin oatmeal,
mm,
which is not bad. It tastes like pumpkin. My biggest complaint this season has been very lack of pumpkin flavors. So
oof.
that's been my pumpkin fix for some reason. But
You know,
everything up here is lacking.
a weird aside, this Halloween didn't feel especially Halloweeny. I don't know if it
No, it
was
does
just
not.
me. It was just
No,
kinda
it to me likewise. But now that we're in November, which is fair season for us, I know I would love to see what other fair seasons are for other shows, but for us, in the morning, depending on where I live, you can either get up really way too early or not not
mhm.
too early.
That was
But
the one nice thing about the complex I was living in for the past couple of years. It was basically right across from the fairgrounds.
yeah, when I was living in Sarasota, it was a 10-minute drive, and I was just loving it, and I miss
Ugh.
that. But but then again, once the fair site moved, it would be 30 minutes either way. So it's like,
Yeah.
don't matter at this point. Um, but I'm someone who tries to get things set up like the night before. So really,
Mhm.
my fair day starts like at 6 o'clock the previous day. Once we get back from that little Friday rehearsal.
Mhm. I know I always took the chance to, if I was working, I would take that day off just so I could spend the day,
Yeah.
pre-prepping everything and going to the green room and setting up my space in the green room.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Prepping.
yeah, just prepping. And I
Yes.
guess it's an important thing to note. It's like that's usually the first thing is, you eat, you get to the site with your gear, and you go prep a space for the day.
Exactly. If you haven't had the chance to already prep your area, um, first day, you want to get everything set up right quick. I usually go a bit too overboard with my little encampment, having like two 10 by 10 tents, having this table like the whole it's like an apartment. Um, and I
Well,
am not ashamed of that.
it's
But
usually not just yourself though. You always kind of had
mhm.
a
I always like having anyone who doesn't have something.
mhm.
If you have a tent or don't have a chair or don't have a whatever, I like to be the person to be like, "Hey, come on in,"
I guess
I, it's always it just be kind.
I know. I don't think we touched on that when we were talking about actually, the kit stuff. So I guess it's another topic we can touch on is like good accessories for fair.
Backstage kit, yeah.
Backstage kit, green room kit.
Your green room kit, your warrior camp kit,
Yeah. But
and
that's the really important thing is to get that set up because even if you're out out in the crowds for most of the
mhm.
day, you're still gonna need a plate. You need a space you can come back to and just sit and just breathe. No, you're good.
One of my favorite things is coming in at the morning when it's literally completely and utterly still dark, and that actually is my favorite part of the show, which is before the show and after the show.
Yeah.
Um, Literally, the show itself is just walking around, right?
Yeah.
It's just walking around, and getting exercise and dealing with drunkards, and I love it, and it's wonderful, and then we fight. But that morning, the morning of, usually the first morning of, when everyone's just coming in, and we're just all just kind of prepping, we're just standing around and having a little bit of chit chat, and kind of getting into it, starting to feel things out,
Mhm.
seeing who's around. We some I don't know if you do, but every morning, At least for the first weekend, I like to do a site walk on my own or with a couple friends, and we see what vendors are open or who's setting up, who might need some help, who wants to chat, and that's my favorite part of the day for reenactment is getting ready and just sort of taking in the site, taking in the vibe that things are about to be electric, and enjoying everyone's company before we have to split and kind of be in character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always nice just to have that couple, and it kind of happens at the end of the day where it just kind of it's like, okay, everything's done. We're just here. We're still a character, but we're here, and it's a good time.
Train of thought. I like seeing. Another part of that is I like seeing how people set up their camps. Like our friend Blue always has a beautiful camp. Actually, I think that was Angela's. But Blue, once it was Blue's, and Natalie, if they or Mongoose, they have a really nice set, and I like seeing what they do every year.
Oh, they do. They do have a nice setup.
I'll be a little tea spill, but the main camp is always kind of just practical. But they always have like 10 billion people in there, and they've got everything they need literally to run the show in there. So that's a very practical, no BS. Let's just chill. I'm here to chill, get things done kind of tent. But then we have like the little tent city as you sprawl in the old site. I don't know what it looks like now, but as you would kind of sprawl through the L into the swamp, you go into that sort of a tent city there where everyone's just kind of living in their tents.
Yeah. Actually, maybe you could ask somebody. It's like, hey, what's the green room situation like? I'm curious.
Yeah. I mean, I was second get a call from Kate or something.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will be like, yeah, we'll do a walkthrough TikTok for you or something.
And then so I don't remember if you've done anything like that. Like I try to make having working thin and not having as much money. You can do only what you can do. So I try to be extravagant, but with the money that you have.
Yeah.
But did you ever try to like put up your own kind of ground, or did you kind of like tent with someone else?
No, I actually I have a very, very good friend who actually got me a one of those collapsible gazebos.
Mm-hmm.
And so for I think the last 2 years of fair, I was able to have my own little setup.
Ooh. And, I mean, I not to be rude, because I can remember certain people's, and I can vaguely remember a group, but I don't remember everybody's specifically.
No, I always kind of ended up being by my lonesome, just for reasons, I guess. But I know I had my own little gazebo. I had my chair, and I was always like, hey, if you don't have a space, if you can, I've got this whole. So, hold on 1 second. No tiki. No, the keyboard is not for sitting.
Right. Like I remember one year I had to kick someone out or have them at the doorway. No, not for any rudeness or any dislike. It was getting cluttered. Right. You try to arrange everything in your tent, and I had like a 10 by 20. But even then, it was like all cluttered. It's like when you're getting back from a fight, you just kind of want to get to your chair and sit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, stay out here for a day. Let me rearrange this. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. No, I never really wanted to do. As nice as it would be in some cases to have that enclosed tent, I was just like, no, I live across the street. I don't worry about too much about this and that. So.
Oh yeah. Next time I plan on having historically accurate.
Man, I would love to. There is a website that actually sells tents.
Yes.
That are. Oh my god! I remember looking at them.
They can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Dragon's Head Studio, is that it?
It might be. I don't remember it being that. No, it was something different. It was something different because they sold the circular kind of tents, and I remember I just remember I was looking at it because it's like I was looking at the how they're actually constructed, and it was like, oh man, that's actually pretty interesting. The
Yeah.
first thing that comes up on a Google search is a website called Panther Primitives, which has a pretty interesting looking selection of medieval tents and
Hmm.
pavilions.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm
Dragon's Head Productions, they have their own setup and they make their own setup, it seems.
mhm,
And, I would love if you've walked through their camp, and of course, other Viking groups that we've had, and other general groups in general, like the Jousters, they have their own setup too. But specifically walking through an encampment, you get inspired to have something like that. So that's what I want to
yeah.
do next time, specifically just in the green room. Have my own little, like 20 by 20 historically accurate Viking tent, if that's possible. And then have
Mm.
furs and this and that, appropriate ones and such like that. That would be nice. But that's down the line.
Yeah, down the
Down the
line.
line.
If
The
I
squiggly
decided
line.
if I try to get back into serious reenactment with my sister, it might be an investment.
Yeah.
But
Which I mean, fortunately, with if you're going historical, it's not. I mean, the canvas is going to be expensive, but I mean, you can get like sticks. Uh,
yeah, the canvas looks like the actual expensive part, and it's like, yeah, here's the canvas. It's $1,500. Here's the
but
you know
I think it would be. Now we got to look this up because I'm saying this completely off the top of my head. Do never take anything I say at voice value. But I wonder if the fabric would have been linen and wool, because I mean those are the most common. If maybe you could just do linen and wool.
um.
I guess it depends also
You
who
also
are you
gotta
trying to represent?
remember it's a you're it's a bit it's a still a lot of yardage to cover.
Exactly.
So you
Depending on the
know,
size, yeah.
but okay, but yeah, but it would be nice to have something like that in the future, just because it looks cool. And
Exactly.
I know that our fair kind of is trying to push that a little bit to have the Warriors camp where we we had our setup
Or it's home.
in where people could see it, and so we
Oof.
you know
Oof. Basically living history.
yeah. Yeah. But so okay,
Which
so
is
where
a
are we
good
at?
thing. We're literally still in the daytime. Not the daytime, sorry. Literally just arrived. Oh, by the way, if you are a reenactor, living history, a CA, festivals, theater, it don't matter. Get yourself one of those wheelie wagons.
Yes,
This
yes,
will be in a
so
kit
much.
video, but I just want to just put that out there. Do you have one?
No,
Oof.
I kept trying to catch one when they were on sale because
Hmm.
they're a little pricey for it, one time use a
Well,
year.
I mean, in Florida, I assume because it's kind of like a beach gear. So
Yeah, they had
maybe where you are, it might be, or we are, it might be easier.
maybe, but definitely, man.
That
I
is,
mean, I had a one of those unfoldable grocery carts
yep, I had one of those too.
that two wheels. It's not the worst, but it could have
Oh,
been.
no, that's great too.
It's a
The
good
wagon I
starter.
think is a little more. It's easier to wheel around.
Yeah, the wagon, like
The
the
weight.
wagon is like when you're really kitted out and good to go. But I
It's
think
it's when
those,
you're serious about doing
yeah.
reenactment.
But no, those I like to think those little rolling grocery carts are a good starting point. Just
Yeah.
because one of the reasons that I like them is that because of the wire setup, you could hook everything onto it if you needed to.
Exactly. Plus, you're gonna have more of a deeper recess or a deeper can to put your stuff in than
Hmm.
the wagon. The wagon, I think, just has the upper hand in terms of it's more manageable to wheel things around.
Right.
Um, the grocery cart, which I have used as well, and honestly, they're really about the same. It feels. I think I got mine for $15. Um, I
Again,
don't know.
it's a good starter.
Yeah, it's a great starter. My wagon, I think I only got for $50. Um, but really, mine was just very simple. I know some of them are very decked out, but
Hmm.
in any case, whatever you've got, you come into camp, you unload, however your little setup is. Usually for us, we do have a little walk around. We get breakfast by one of the vendors. If you get a vendor that does breakfast, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Um,
The crepe lady.
remember, Funny, funny historical sidebar in one of the shows, and I forget which one it was, because we've had an elephant a couple times. But during one of the rehearsals, I forget kind of how the conversation came up. Dean was saying something about an elephant,
Elephant.
and I'm like, "Oh, hey, I've got a fear of elephants." And then he just kind of awkwardly turned around, and lo and behold, this is I had an encounter with an orca, and this is kind of not in any way as negative as that, but uh, our warriors camp or green room or however you want to call it is very long and narrow. It's literally just it was. I don't know what it is now, but it was just a very long, narrow, sort of forested, fenced in with barbed wire area. And you don't really see anything when you're walking in any direction.
Nope.
So if you're going toward the gate where people are going to be coming in, us performers, the vendors, there's a big gate that's hidden for it, so people still get the grasp of illusion. So there's giant portal doors. They open. They're kind of in the way of our warriors camp as well. So you don't see anything. You don't even see past the barbed wire because that gets covered up too on our end. And then when you even still, what isn't is just cars. So you've got nothing. You've got no way of knowing who's coming, who's going. If there's camels, if there's a car, you better just find another direction to sneak out. But in this instance, I was going back to my car, so I had to go through the double doors and giant portal doors, and literally, as you would at a grocery store, turning an aisle, casually bumped into an elephant. Literally, face to flesh. The front of the animal, like, and being someone who's mild, I would say a respectable fear. Like,
I can
big.
understand
They can do damage, but I have a deep respect for them, and they are an absolute necessary animal. And I don't think they're beautiful, like from an aesthetic. I know I'm gonna get flack for that, but I just kind of think they're one of the animals to me that kind of look like alien. Like,
I can see that.
How did that happen?
But also, they are also very large, and we live in a world where we don't run into stuff that's very large at a very close range
not at
anymore.
All, unless it's a horse, right? But I mean, I love them. I think they're very integral animals. They're just kind of weird to me, and I have this mild fear from growing up and watching elephant attack videos, and it actually stemmed from as a child watching the beginning of Dumbo.
Oh boy, that
is such a weird movie and such a weird intro to a movie where the elephants just kind of come across as violent.
No, I
don't know if I'm remembering that right, but it to me as a child it came across really aggressive.
I haven't seen Dumbo in ages, but I remember that general vibe from Dumbo.
Yeah, and then the rest of the movie's just really depressing, like Joker. It's like Joker with an elephant. Even has the clown painting. But we live in a circus society. But
why do you hurt me like this?
Literally bumped into an elephant. But not to stray too much. But yeah, I love the morning walk. I love interacting with people. I love. There's a little furry group. It starts. I love the vendors now. So they're doing it now. They're the glass people. If you can get something from them and you're down there, please do. That's literally what they do.
Wait, is it
growing?
Wolf?
I have no clue. I'm gonna be completely honest. I can look it up on Instagram right now to give them a little call out.
Like, I know there's
pardon me, I don't really remember like vendor names so much as what they sell.
Because I know we have there's like at least two furries that usually show up. One is the black wolf in the kilts.
Yeah, I don't mean the customers or the guests.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
people that we have a couple of them that do the vendor stuff, and they're amazing people. Don't judge them for
Oh
the
no, but no,
enjoying furry stuff,
that's
which you and
also
I obviously don't. I'm talking about like other people that might listen.
yeah,
Um,
but no, that's actually one of my favorite things too. Is like because especially on the first day, you get this chance to walk around and see if there's any new vendors and if say hello to the vendors that you know. My favorite is the I can't remember the guy who did the bronze work.
Mhm.
Oh man, I can't remember his
It is
name.
because I'm not moving on until we've given them a proper positive call out. But
He
Prism Tree Studio, they do beautiful work. I've watched them when they started, just starting out, and now they're just incredible. It's like their most recent stuff looks like vinyl records, and it's
mm,
beautiful. So shout out to them. They're really great people too. And I've got a lot of furry friends, and I love them. But it's not going to be a furry community unless there's drama. And they have been honestly the least dramatic people I've ever met, and have
so
always been gracious hosts.
so
So
we're
if
gonna
you
have
have
to
a chance,
remember to put a link in the description for them if
mhm.
they've got something. Um, uh, but I remember one of my favorite vendors, a fellow named Tomas the Lapidary, and
What?
his wife. They're the folks that the couple that always have that one stand that have all the beautiful little the circlets and the crowns and the antlers. And I love their stuff so much, and I miss seeing them this year because they're always so nice.
Hmm. So yeah, check out Prism Tree Studio. Check out uh, Delap. What was it?
Tomas the Lapidary,
Tomas Delapidary.
Tomas, and I
Hmm.
actually do have a link for him, so I will make sure that gets into the description. And this gentleman always does, and he works on
Yeah, yeah.
stuff in the tent
Hmm.
while people watch, and it's just really.
Oh, exactly. There's so many we can go over, not just from
Mhm,
the show that we do, but the other ones as well. But that's just kind of like a little flavor of things that we do before the gates even open. There is
mhm.
so much that we do as performers before people even start going to the gate, and it kind of narrows into that. Once we've had our walk, we have a meet. Oof, we have a meeting,
Mhm.
which is always kind of whatever. Um, And that's basically where if as a reenactor, if your group has a meeting, like ours, obviously we're a festival, so they just kind of give us a rundown of who's playing, who's doing what, and then some whatever talk that is just kind of like, hey, we're here, we're excited, we like turtles, and
I like turtles.
yeah, no, our producer, he always has something to say at the start of the show. Always greets, always welcomes, always kind of gets people ready to set up and get going, introduce,
Mhm,
and then of course there's minor other talks from fight to some of the shows. So it's good like little meeting area at the very start of the show uh, for cast to first know who's playing, where they are playing,
mhm,
and kind of get the gist of what does your show want out of that day. For us, those meetings, we really stress try to make memories, interact with kids appropriately and people appropriately, and be fun and engaging, and don't swear. Um, so they're really nice, chill meetings, and I like them. Although me personally, I'd be like, eh, I know that. Let's just get to it.
E
But it is good to know who's playing and who's where.
yeah, 'cause, playing is important as a cast member.
Yes, yes, and then also it's always a good. I don't know. To me, it's like a really nice place to the meeting. Our big pub tent. We have a giant pub tent still there.
Ah,
It's always a nice place in the morning. to go and just set your coffee down, kind of sit next to the people you want to sit next to, and curl up in your wool. So, memories for us as a reenactor. And I would love to know how you start your day before the show even begins. If you do a different show than us, in the comments below, because but how is it for you? When you come in the morning, right up to a meeting.
I always kind of ended up trying to think, because it's honestly been a little while. It's sad it's been a while, but I come in, I set my stuff up. I actually would go. I actually the last 2 years, I would go make sure TJ had breakfast because he never ate
Yes.
breakfast.
Yeah, some of us are like that. Like I will at least eat breakfast, but good luck making me eat something big over the course of the day. Usually my biggest thing is water.
Yeah. No, I would go check. I would go check, make sure he had something to eat, because I would make a serving for him, because homeboy liked grits too, and it's nice to share.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I haven't mentioned, so I will now. But our producer usually provides water for us, which is nice. You should still bring your own, but also donuts.
Nice little sugar boost.
Donuts, I'm kind of like, why?
Hey,
but hey, you know what? It's free, and I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the spirit. I actually would I would do the same. I'd walk around a little bit just to see if there are any areas I got to watch out for. You remember how there's oh, look, it rained yesterday, and this stretch of pathway is now mud.
Mm-hmm. Or that usually dry river actually is a river now.
Yeah, and I would. I know when we had Shane Adams doing stuff, doing jousting for the fair, I would go say hi, because that man, cool guy. When we had the Weird Brothers and Dragon's Head, I would go say hi to them, because they were friends, and they're nice folks. The Landschneck, yep.
I would say to at least say hi to just the Bruce, because I didn't know the others. But
say hi to the Bruce, say hi to the photographer lady if I don't.
But yeah, going around, make our hellos and such, and then of course, the most awkward part of our morning before opening gate is actually, the weirdest thing, a mild tangent, but it's relevant. Every single year, we do the same thing. We know where we need to be.
And there's always somebody dragging it.
Dragon butt. However, no, we always know that we're doing an open gate ceremony. We always know what time it is. We always know that we have to wait at this particular location. But yet, every single year, nobody knows what they're doing. Every single year, it's like the last minute. And every single year, what are we doing? What are we doing? Whether you're coming into the gate or you're at the gate already, it's like nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what's going on. we have to figure it out literally at the moment and hope the other people know.
Well, you got to remember that we'd go from we'd run the fights, we'd run the first match in the melee, we'd run the second match.
How did we miss that? Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's not much to say about it. Is we line up on the chessboard, we do the moves, we practice, how we're going to move off the field. If there's if somebody's hurt or somebody's can't do the fight, they're like, how do we figure this out?
Yeah, no, that's silly. I'm thinking festival, and that is such a big part of our morning routine.
In the really morning, is, but it's honestly, it's just like there's not much. It doesn't feel like there's too much to say about it, because
I will, because for me at least, it is actually a big thing, and part of starting the day. So let me describe that for the listeners. From I think 7 or whatever time, we 10, thank you, 10, whatever. We go to the chessboard. I'm usually there a little bit early. I like to kind of be one of the first people either to rehearsal or to show, not for anything other than just to make sure I'm there, and not late or whatever. I like to just be myself, be in line. But it's nice to just be there before anybody else and just kind of take it in, take the sight
Mhm.
in. Hopefully the paint is dry enough and walk it. Not walk your fight, but just walk. I like to walk on the field. I like to look at the seats and our little area that's just the fencing, the shields, if there's any shields up or whatever we have, and of course the keep. And then people start filling in, and we kind of some people kind of know their place. They get on the board, and others we have our little talk, our little personal meeting, and then we run the fight. We run it at slow, half, whatever, performance,
Mhm.
and then we break off to our individual fights, hopefully. But it's a ritual kind of, and it's I don't know what it would be like to not do that. To kind of go in there and just not be part of that experience with everyone, and get to just engage in the last time you're going to rehearse something before people that aren't people see it. And then of course we get into everything else, the chaos that is going to front gate.
Mhm.
And that's my weird thing is every time, every year, we know this thing, we've done it every time, but every time, every year, I'm gonna just repeat that. But every scenario we do, nobody knows what's going on. Literally, once we do it.
Well, we have that because there's that little chunk of time between, um, the meeting at the pub that our group does, and
Yeah, at least an
then
hour.
at least it was an hour. I always felt like that was like the last, half hour. It's like, okay, we'll go back to the green room to get the rest of our kits on because we, and
Mhm.
then it's to the front for opening.
Yes, and I've had the perspective of both coming in to the gate, going through it. I've had the perspective of being at the gate and being already inside. Uh, I think I like being inside more. It's only because it's always awkward dealing with
Yeah.
the chaos of nobody knowing what the hell they're doing in terms of dealing with the gate. But when I was Alfred, I thought about that. I'm like, okay, so in same scenario, nobody knew what was going on until we did it. But I was like, okay, so normally people go up top, at that very high bridge,
Hmm.
and I have a phobia of heights.
Oof.
So I can do there's the sides, which is that platform, and I love those. You climb
That's-
up a really weird ladder in a very unstable kind of. I don't want to say amateur build. It just kind of feels that way, but it's really,
I'm
really
sure
well
it's better.
built.
I'm sure it's better now that
Um,
it's actually, can probably
Now that we
stay
have a
up.
full production, yeah. No, I just mean uh, for someone that has a phobia of heights, it always kind of feels weird being up top. Um, but no, our front gate is actually really well done. So there's nothing to worry about. It's just my own weird fears. But I was like, I hope they don't expect me to go up there because first I have a phobia of heights,
Hmm.
and secondly, every time I see people go up there, because for some reason I don't know why y'all do it, but people love going up there. There, at least in the site that we were at, there's always trees in your face and branches that you have to
Right.
walk through, and I'm like, I am not. I am not being Alfred with a tree in my face trying to figure out how not to die.
Yeah. No, I always like going up on that first level because it's easy to get up there and it gives you a decent vantage point,
Yeah.
and it felt a lot more stable.
Yeah, I like doing that too. If I have to be at the gate, which you don't usually have to, unless you're like king, queen, or whatever. I like being at one of those things. But I always feel like, am I taking a spot that someone else should have? Am I just kind of like barging in, or is it okay? Because again, front gate, no one ever knows what's going on. No one's like, okay, you two, I want you guys there at the guard, the little guard towers, and
Hmm.
you two, you got to be blah blah blah. You never know. Nobody knows. We just wing it. It's improv. So I'm always like, but yeah, no, I like being inside already. I like kind of hiding. I like not being involved in that because it's always kind of awkward. There's the banter. We have the opposing sides will meet, and there'll be some nice banter. I love Zach. If you ever listen, I love you, platonically. But I loved our banter. I guess every scenario they like what they do, but we had good banter when we were King. Um, so it's always fun, but when you're kneeling down in the mulch and it's just awkward and painful, right? But when
Yeah.
you're getting to stand, it's nice. Um, so that's probably why I like being on the inside. But we get that cannon that sometimes is never on the dot.
Yeah. Well,
The signal that the show is on, it was like, throw wide the gates,
you know what?
throw wide the gates.
I always thought that there was never, a lot of,
Communication.
well, not just that. It's like, there usually isn't a big crowd of people right when we open the gates.
Right.
Like, so I always figured, it's like, why don't we just you know, you have this, like, for Eddington, when it was you and
Zach, yeah.
Zach,
As Guthrum. Go ahead.
Asgothram, yep. Have Alfred and the English welcoming people into Eddington, and
Yeah.
and
Kind of
then
like I'm trying to think the church saying like we are safe. Obviously we can only think of what we were previously at. Like where you meet the gate and the parking lot, instead of just kind of casually standing there wondering what we're doing, actually interact with people.
yeah, like it felt like
That's a thought.
it it's like, because when this whole thing happens, there's like maybe 20 people on a good, it
Yeah.
felt like there are like maybe 20, 40 people on a good day, and then yeah, get some laughs out of it. But I feel like, have an opening ceremony at the chess
An
match.
actual, yeah.
Yeah, I felt, I always feel like that would have ended up working a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, a crowd builds. We're there for at least like what 10, 15 minutes. I think opening gate is 10 o'clock, if I'm remembering that correctly.
God,
And
it just seems very late, but I know it's probably
I know,
right.
but I love that. And sometimes we're there for like a little bit longer than I think we should. But it's, I think, because every year it's something that is always overlooked. I feel like it just doesn't introduce the show well enough. Honestly, in terms of we're going to say a professional manner. Not that we're not professional, but it just feels very off the cuff and unsure of itself. Like we put so much effort into our improv, we put so much effort into the fight show that we do, and then it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you need to go to the gate. I'm every year I want to be like, did you guys think about this? Have you guys thought about that? And I'm sure they have. And I'm sure every year, just like bits get lost, right? You think of cool bits and you never do them.
Yeah.
Some things fall by the wayside because the day just happens to be that way. But I
Mhm.
feel like that's something we should put more attention to. That's something we need to rehearse. That is something both opening and closing gate is something we need to rehearse at least for 2 weekends before show.
It should be a part of rehearsal, honestly.
Honestly, I'm gonna get with our improv director. I'm gonna send her a message immediately after this that she'll see 2 months later, because she's an awesome person who doesn't get on Facebook, as you should not be on Facebook, because that obviously that's gonna fall on improv, right?
Right.
And we as professionals put on as entertaining a sort of banter and best we can to sort of prep people as they're coming in. And then once the two forces collide, if you will, we have really great banter between the two of us every single year. It's always fun in that respect when we actually finally get to react and reenact and improv and riff. And you give people kind of the idea of what our characters are like. That's always like the really best part. But it's still chaotic. It's still a mess. It's still like, oof. I think maybe that's just an inside perspective. Maybe the guests don't see it that way, and it's just because we do it.
That could be the case. I mean, the world is a weird, weird place.
Like if I'm making a song or doing a painting, I always think it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do better. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's something like that. I think we could do better, but maybe the guests love it, the way we do it. But how about yourself?
Wait, what?
Your front gate experiences with opening.
So I actually always end up being on the side. It feels like I always end up being on the side that's in, except for Bannockburn year when I started on the English side, and then during the second half of the day flipped over to the Scottish side. Um, so I mean, I I've said it before. I'll say it a lot. I've never really am the best at improv. I'm just not good at it, and I have a lot of social anxiety.
It's okay. Improv, even fight, it's not for everyone. But even still, for those that obviously didn't make it to show or didn't make it on Fight Cast, it is more important just to try. Like we have people on cast that just can't get into accent. Some people who purposely don't, and I think that's a problem. But some people who legitimately just can't because of their personal dialect or just whatever for social anxiety or something like that. My first couple of years, I was very quiet. And improv, although I'm very quick-witted, it's something that kind of comes to you, right? It's perfectly fine to not be the best at it. Dare to suck.
Yeah.
So whatever.
It's hard for me to suck because I suck a lot at a lot of things, and I don't want to suck at fair.
No worries. That's the best part. The best place to do that. I think at least. I think it's just to be positive. Just
no,
dare to go out there and be weird.
So like I always enjoyed just getting a good spot. Like I always try to get like I said, in the middle in that first level, just because I can watch people and I can watch the rest of the cast, and I can I don't I can maybe occasionally pop in a word, interact a little bit, but I'm just there. I'm just there to look pretty.
Basically, that's what we do, and we do it good. Anyway, no, I don't. But for me, the most awkward part of opening gate is when the gate finally opens.
Yeah,
and you gotta stand there and be like, "Oh, welcome to Disney. It's a small world after all." And it's like, inside I'm just like, can I just walk away? I'm the king. Can I just walk away?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I guess it's just your luck you never got the chance to have a litter and be carried around.
Yeah. That's just, I don't know. That part is where the social anxiety comes into effect for me.
Yeah,
I don't. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, you were saying.
No. I can see that. I understand that. I just like, I'm surprised. I'm surprised nobody got their stuff together enough to try and get that worked out.
The entrance.
Something to carry the king around.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I don't want to be carried, but
no, definitely, it does definitely feel like the entrance is one of those things that always ended up being an afterthought. It's like, no, it's just really, it should be.
Yeah, important. It's like you got the amazing kudu right next to you, banging their drums and doing their bagpipes, and then you're trying to be like all Disney with people walking in, and really you just want to like, all right, we open the gate, let's go walk around.
Yeah. No, that's why I think like an opening, have like an opening ceremony that's not at like the gate would have been a good idea. I don't know.
Not a bottleneck either.
Yeah, that too.
It's also a very bottleneck. Like you got, for us, I don't know what it is like now, but you've got that bottle where you've got the vendors really tight in. You've got a stage really tight in. You got kudu. They're amazing. They're right there. Mm-hmm. You've got acrobellum. They're just right up on you. We're in the trees and everything is just like...
A bit of an aside. I did actually run into our acrobellum crew at the Holly Renaissance Festival up here where I'm at, and I was like, are those are the ones from Sarah's? That's the ones from SMF. Yeah, that's the ones from. Sorry, what I was like, you guys are the ones in SMF, right? It's like, yeah. It's like, oh man, glad to see you guys. It was nice.
Yeah, I'm by King Richard's Festival Fair. King Richard's Fair. I haven't gone. I won't, only because of the current situation. But I already recognize some people in their group too.
Yeah, no, I had a friend who was I'm lucky enough to have a friend who was like, she had the weekend, like the collector's weekend pass or whatever, and ended up getting extra tickets. So she offered them, like, free, Renaissance Festival first weekend I'm in Michigan. Heck yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
and then of course
I was gonna say,
that's when
it's been almost an hour. If
we
it's good to
start our
cut
day
here and do a
with
part 2,
everything
just
finally
because
there.
I gotta try and start getting to bed. At a
Usually,
decent
like those
time.
first moments are kind of awkward when you're doing bits because no one's around. But so we'll skip that kind of.
So yeah, gates are open. People are coming in, and there's, I think, like, that first hour or two, that first hour, honestly, is always like the best time because everybody's fresh and ready to go and ready to do something before the fights and everything.
Yes, and we're gonna get into the fighting on part 2. Obviously, the first hour is where you try out those awkward, cringy bits.
Yeah.
And nobody's watching.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
No, I always took that time just to have an extra because at this point, all the vendors are out and everybody's open, so it's a good, and there's still not a lot of actual patrons, so it's a good, little window to go, hey, I wanted to check out this tent before it got too busy.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually what I do too. Legitimately, most of what I do during festivals, with the exception of when I was king because I had to be out in the lanes, is actually going through those vendors pretty much all day long. And not to shop. I'm literally just in character, going through, chatting with them, chatting with people that come in there and kind of engaging on a more personal level. Because me, with my own social anxiety, I like things in a more personal, closed-in level instead of 5,000 people surrounding me in a bit. Never that many people surrounding you, but you know what I mean? Where it's just like the crowd becomes a vague mass of amorphous blobs. Instead, you can actually see, oh, it's a woman with her child, or it's a dude, or it's a couple, or whatever. Or you can help the vendors sell what they're trying to sell, or something more personal, something a little bit more, in my opinion, in character than walking around and being a cartoon or a costume at a theme park. That's just how I go through it. That's me, I guess. But I mean, I do like interacting with y'all. But I feel like you guys are forced to interact with me.
I mean,
whereas the guests aren't forced, they can walk away, they can ignore you. So I'm kind of like, I know we did all this improv to interact with each other, but I'm just going to ignore the cast when I can, and actually interact with the guests because that's kind of why we're here, make memories with them. At least that's like my initial thought, and then you get tired of people and you start working with the cast. But I don't know. I'm weird. My way of doing things is different than everyone else's. I like interacting with people, but on a personal level. And I try to limit my cast bits because I just feel like it's forced.
I appreciate that, and I respect that you understand that, because it's like, I mean, we're peasants. The king wouldn't interact with us if he could help it. For real.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, and then you get deference. Yeah, no, I don't mind deference, but I don't know. When I was Alfred, I just was like, don't worry, just get up. Alfred, I mean, I don't know how Alfred would have been. I'm sure he would have been a king, as he should have. But me personally, I'm just like, I hate having my knees destroyed by mulch.
Oof,
when someone's walking by and ignoring you when they're doing a bit and you still have to be on your knees. So we'll get into difference in the next one. I'm just going to tip top it. But so, in an improv way, I like to just sort of skirt cast because I don't want to get into those kind of cringy scenarios. You got to be on your knees or it just, we are forced to say yes to each other, yes. And I kind of want a group that's harder, where you actually have to impress. But
well, I mean, that's part of the improv, but yeah, I feel that because yes, and it can work, but it can work, but not all the time.
But, and we're going to get into that a little deeper in the next episode. We are hitting that close to our mark. It won't be in the final recording, but that is pretty much our morning. Our morning for what you do and how we go about our reenactment day. Basically, a day in reenactment for us.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to close out,
I mean, closing thoughts. It feels like the mornings always were, a good indicator for how the rest of the day would go.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Hopefully. I
because
only say that because sometimes it can turn during a fight show. But yeah, pretty much.
And it always, especially the first morning of the first day, the first weekend, it's always just a different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like things get worse. It's just it's a different vibe because it's like that build up is fine. All those weeks of rehearsal and
You finally
planning.
get that release.
Yeah. And man. And it's just like, especially the night before, there's also, that everybody's just raring to go and they want it to be then and now,
Yeah, it's like that old poem that they said, the night before reenactment and all through the camp. What is everyone thinking? Hopefully the field isn't damp. The paint will stick to your fabric quite well, and the rest of the day is gonna feel like hell. There's some improv, but anywho, we've trolloped along that a bit too much. So that is it for this episode of the Talk Past podcast. We will have an episode 2 or a part 2 where we will go through the middle of our day, which is basically fight and lunch, and then if that drags on, we'll do a closing. But closing's usually just kind of like the same thing every time. But that'll be for the next episode. So until then, I am NC, the occasional host.
The occasional host. And I am Red Iron Riot, aka the War Queen, your lovable trash mammal.
Indeed, that we all are. But that's it. Enjoy the night. Beep it up.
Good night. Goodbye.
Marble double.